In this video, we're going to be looking at percent of amounts. So if we look at 15% of 50, one of the easiest ways to do this is to work out 10% of 50 first. And 10% of 50, you just divide 50 by 10, which gives you 5. And then you can work out 5% of 50, which will be half the amount of 10% of 50, which was 5, so we're going to have 2.5. You add the two together and we get 7.5. Now how does that work? Well, if you look at a bar, so let's take that as a bar, and we'll split that into half, and then 1, 2, 3, 5. So we split that into 10 portions. That represents 50, so each portion is worth 10%. You can see 10s into 50 go 5, so each of these is worth 5. All the way through, I won't write all of them down. We want 10%, 10% is just one of those boxes, and therefore that becomes 5 there. So that's why we're dividing by 10 when we're looking at 10% of 50. 25% of 60. Well, 25% is also a quarter. Remember, percentages can also be written as fractions or decimals. So 25% is a quarter. So we could do the same thing. Here we can say a quarter of 60, which is just 15. But if you're not sure how to do that, you can then work out 10% of 60, as we did previously. 60 divided by 10 is 6. To get 20%, we would double that. So that means we've got 12. And then 5% would be half of the 10% value. So half of the 10% would be 3. 12 plus 3 is 15, and we get the same answer. Here we have 200% of 700. Well, if we have 700 represented by this bar, we know that the full amount is 100%. The only way we can get 200% is if we had another lot of 700 here, and another lot of 100%, which then gives us 200%. Therefore, 700 plus 700 is 1400, or 1400. So remember, you can also write 200% as a decimal number. Well, how do you convert a percentage to a decimal? You divide by 100. 200 divided by 100 is 2. And the off in maths means times. So we're just doing 2 times 700, which is 1400. So that's the other way that you can look at this type of question as well. So here we work out 10% first, and we can see that that gives us 90. So 90% is 9 times that amount. So if we multiply that by 9 as well, we get 81. So the answer, 90% of 90, is 81. Have a look at 12% of 9. What do you think we should do here? Have a go and come back when you've done that one. Okay, so here we have 12% of 9. Now you may be thinking that, well, we can work out 10%, which gives us 0.9, because you divide 9 by 0.9. Then we can work out 1%, so you have to divide 0.9 by 10 again. But that gets really confusing. You can do it like that, but it gets a little bit tricky. So in this case, we need to realize that 12%, or rather any percentage, can be written as a decimal number or a fraction. To convert any percentage to a decimal, you divide by 100. So if we take the number 12 and we divide it by 100, we've moved the decimal point, which is at the end of the number 12, 2 places to the left, and that gives us 0.12. So we know 12% is the same as 0.12. The off, we know, is a multiplication, and then we have the 9, and then we can just write that as a column multiplication, like so. And we can do 9 times 2 is 18, carry the 1, 9 ones are 9, add the 1, which is 10, 9 zeros is 0, add the 1, which is 108. we can see that there are two numbers after the decimal point, so we go back by 2, gives us 1.08. And that's by far the easiest way to do a percent of an amount where the numbers are not very nice. Okay, here we have 59% of 696. So once again, the numbers are difficult, we don't really like them, so we're going to convert the 59% to a decimal number and then multiply by 696. So in this case, we're going to have 696 multiplied by 0.59. So let's go through and do this one. So I know there are 3 lines of working because I've got 0, 5 and a 9 there, plus my addition sign. So 9 sixes are 54, carry the 5. 9 nines are 81, add the 5 gives me 86. 9 sixes are 54, add my 8 gives me 62. I move to the 5 now, new number, new line, start with a 0. 5 sixes are 30. 5 nines are 45, add the 3 gives me 48. 5 sixes are 30, add the 4 gives me 34. I'm just going to extend these lines just a little bit. I move to the 0 there, it's a new number, new line, start with 2 zeros for my placeholders, 0 times 6, 0 times 9, 0 times 6. Add my digits, gives me 4, 6, that's 10. 10 plus 1 is 11, that gives me 41064. I then look at the 0.59 over here, and I can see that there are 2 numbers after the decimal point. So I go back by 2 numbers here, which gives me an answer of 410.64. So this is by far the easiest way to do this kind of question. Obviously, if it's a calculator paper, you can pop that straight into a calculator. If it's a non-calculator paper, you will then need to go through the column multiplication. So you do need to know how to do decimal multiplication. Have a go at 54% of 63. Pause the video now and come back when you've done. Okay, let's see how to do this one. So we know that we're multiplying by 0.54 because 54% divided by 100, move the decimal point 2 places to the left, gives us 0.54. Now, I can either do 63 times 0.54, or I can do 0.54 times 63. I'm going to choose the one on the right. And the reason for that is, if I do the one on the left, I have 3 lines of working. So here I'd have to do 3 lines of working, plus my addition, which gives me 4 lines in total. And if you look on the right hand side, I only need 3 lines in total, which means it's going to be a lot more quicker. So 3 times 4 is 12, carry the 1. 3 5s are 15, add the 1 gives me 16. 3 zeros are 0, add the 1. New number, new line, start with a 0. 6 4s are 24. 6 5s are 30, add my 2, gives me 32. And 6 zeros are 0, add my 3. Add the numbers up, gives me 10 there, 4, 3. 2 numbers after the decimal point, go back 2 places, 34.02. And there is your answer. So I hope you got that correct. Okay, let's look at 66% of 8. Once again, we just convert the 66% to 0.66, multiply by 8. 8 sixes are 48, carry the 4. 8 sixes are 48, add my 4 gives me 52. 8 zeros are 0, add my 5, gives me 5 there. 2 numbers at the decimal point, go back 2 places, 5.28. Let's move on to something a little bit more complex. So here we have decimal percentages of decimal numbers, so 8.4% of 0.1. Now, we know 8.4 as a percentage. We can divide that by 100, so we need to move the decimal point 2 places to the left, so it appears there. I'm going to have a 0 here and a 0 there. So that number there becomes 0.084. And we're going to multiply that by 0.1. Now there is another way to do this. you can do the column multiplication method, but you could also spot that 0.1 is the same as a tenth. So if we take 0.084 and we just divide that by 10, which means you move the decimal point one more place to the left, you get 0.0084, and that question then is 0.0084, and we can do that fairly quickly. But if that 0.1 was, for example, 0.23, then yes, we have to go down the column multiplication route. So we'll do one of those shortly. So here we have 8.2% of 2.55. Well, if I convert 8.2% to a decimal, I have to divide by 100, so the decimal point moves 2 places to the left. So I'm left with 0.082, and I need to multiply that by 2.55. So I've got 3 digits in 255, so I need 3 lines of working, plus my addition. So 5 2s are 10, carry the 1, 5 8s are 40, add the 1, gives me 41, so carry my 4, 5 zeros are 0, add my carryover, 5 zeros are 0. New number, new line, add a 0, 5 times 2 is 10 again, 5 times 8 is 40, add the 1 is 41, 5 times 0 is 0, add my 4, and 5 times 0 is 0. New number, new line, start with 2 zeros, 2 2s are 4, 2 8s are 16, carry my 1, 2 zeros are 0, add my 1 here, and 2 zeros are 0. Add my columns gives me 0, 1, that's a 9 there, that gives me 10, 2 and a 0. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers after decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers after decimal gives me 0.2091. I don't need the last 0 here. You can write it if you want to. I mean, that's exactly the same as 0.2091. Now, from what you've learned so far in this video, see if you can apply your knowledge to this question, 0.64% of 7.17. Pause the video and come back when you've completed it. Okay, so we have the number 0.64 and we divide that by 100 because we want to convert the percentage to a decimal. You divide by 100, so we move the decimal point 2 places to the left, and that gives me 0.0064. So I'm left with 0.0064, and I'm multiplying by 7.17. I've got 3 numbers in 717, so I need 3 lines of working, plus my addition. 7 times 4 is 28, carry the 2. 7 6s are 42, add the 2, gives me 44. 7 zeros are 0, add my carryover. 7 zeros are 0, 7 0 0. Move to the new number there, the 1. So it's a new number, new line. Start with a 0. 1 times 4, 1 times 6, 1 times 0, 1 times 0, 1 times 0. Then I move to the 7. So I have to have 2 zeros there. 7 times 4 is 28, carry my 2. 7 times 6 is 42, add the 2, which is 44. 7 times 0 is 0, add my placeholder 4 there, my carryover rather. 7 zeros are 0, and 7 zeros are 0. So let's just extend those lines. Add all our numbers up now in the columns. 4 plus 4 is 8. Here we've got 18. 4 plus 1 is 5. We've got 4 there, 0, 0. Now if we have a look at our question again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers after the decimal points. So we go back by 6 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the answer is 0.045888. So you can see that when you see a question like this, which normally is not very nice, it's a lot easier now because we know the method behind it. We know that it's a simple case of not getting too concerned with it. We just convert the percentage to a decimal and use column multiplication, and now we can do any type of percentage in this kind of format. I hope you found that video useful. Do check back on our YouTube channel for other videos. We're uploading videos on a weekly basis. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button if you like the video, and do add a comment in the comment section and let us know if you'd like to see some different type of videos as well. See you in the next video, and thanks for watching.